Welcome back to the Dynasty Kings podcast. I'm your host, Jared.
And I'm Austin.
And we are back. Well, Austin, welcome back.
Yeah, I made it back this week. Had some scheduling conflicts.
But we're here now.
Yep, we made it. And it's before Thursday as well, which is the first time we've done this in some time.
Yeah.
The game starts in an hour, so we need to hurry up. But that's no worries at all. Jared, you were solo, and we need you to shout out one of your hits and one of your misses here.
So one of my hits, I said to sit Puka Nacua. It hurts because you know I love Puka Nacua.
Puka Whisperer.
But he did have a bad game, and it's probably due to Brett Ripien just being absolutely terrible, which I predicted.
Yep.
And, you know, it sucks because, I mean, Puka also had the knee swelling. I think he'll be okay after the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I think, or hopefully Matthew Stafford is okay by then, but them signing Carson Wentz is a little concerning.
Right. But Carson Wentz is a huge step up from Brett Ripien.
That's
I don't
true.
give a fuck. Like,
yeah, that's
Carson
true.
Wentz is not great, bro. But
he's not Matthew Stafford,
no.
but he's closer to Matthew Stafford than he is to Brett Ripien.
Yes. Yep. 100%. That's a perfect way to put that.
Yeah. And then one of the ones I got wrong, I said to start Zach Moss. It was a JT week.
Yep.
It is what it is. I mean, I knew that, you know, they were going to eat. But actually, I did see a stat. The Panthers defense has kind of been on a tear. Like, their run defense was really bad, like the worst in the league before their bye.
Right.
But after their bye, it's actually been really good. So
interesting, because Brian Burns has been injured as well.
Exactly. So it's definitely, they're turning it around. And that's a perfect segue into the first game we have, which is actually interesting because we're talking about Thursday Night Football for the first time in weeks.
Since, like, the Commanders game, Bears game.
Yeah.
Since, like, 5 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
that's right. So it's just, we're attracted to the Bears, I guess. But obviously the video is not going to come out till after Thursday Night Football. So, Austin, you can take it away with your prediction.
Yeah.
We're going to see if it's right or wrong by the time this is
we'll
posted.
We'll know. But yeah, it's funny because I was actually talking to you earlier today about, like, possibly sitting DJ Moore, but you brought something up that I didn't even think about. This is the DJ Moore revenge game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
These guys traded DJ Moore for a midget. So he's probably pissed. And no, but in all reality, I don't know if there's any bad blood or not, but just in general, most of the time you'll see
revenge
players
games
going crazy. And so the reason why I was thinking about sitting DJ Moore is because he's gotten 6 and 5 targets in the last 2 games, which is not, like, excellent for number 1 receivers. But I think he could see a lot more tonight, especially just because of that. So DJ Moore's my start, and hopefully he's in your lineup already.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Tyson Bagent has just been not targeting him at all, so hopefully that changes tonight. With the
Yeah, I think they might force feed him a little bit, which makes sense, and that immediately made me think of that. So that's my start, and we'll see.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
We'll find out. All right, so with that, we got another Sunday morning game.
This is the Germany game.
Last Sunday morning game, right? I think.
I don't know.
There might be one more.
So.
But
It's definitely the last Germany game.
Yes, for sure. But this is going to be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I got a player that I think we've brought up. Yeah, we definitely brought this guy up a couple times. Staying away from Zach Moss this week. We're going with Michael Pittman. Okay. And I'm not going to say junior because I don't know if that's ever right or not.
Yeah, he is Michael Pittman Jr. Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Because
on Sleeper, it's just Michael Pittman? Yeah, I checked it today.
Now I'm nervous.
So I think it's just Michael Pittman, but while you're looking at that, I'll tell you why. The Patriots give up the 4th most points. It is Junior. Hey, we're there. The Patriots give up the 4th most points to opposing wide receivers.
Damn.
So, yeah, I mean... And with Josh Downs, he missed practice yesterday, missed practice today, which is Wednesday and Thursday. So that's never a good sign, especially for a receiver that left last game, who was questionable going into Week 9. They said, we're going to see how he feels before the game. I guess he said he felt fine, and then I think it was either in the first quarter or second quarter. It was definitely in the first half. He just was not feeling good. They took him out of the game. He did not return, and he hasn't practiced since. So if he doesn't play... Michael Pittman is really the only receiver on that team that I trust. I don't really trust Alec Pierce. And then, obviously, you have JT and Zach Moss.
Right.
But I think Michael Pittman's going to get force-fed a lot of these targets if Josh Downs...
And he's been getting targeted a lot. We kind of mentioned this when Minshew took over to begin with. Minshew loves targeting his number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been over 10 every week, but it's been close to 10 every week since he took over. So that makes a lot of sense to me. He's absolutely in every single one of my starting lineups that I own him in, and I'm a big Pittman guy, so I have a bunch of them. I think JT is going to have a good week as well.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to put on a show for the German people. And
the Germans.
That's my motherland, so... Fucking go JT! But yeah, so is that pretty much everything you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be... it's not going to be a pretty game. It's not even worth
Yeah.
waking up that early for. So,
But I will be.
Oh, yeah, I
watching
definitely
it.
will.
You can't
But-
stop me. So on to Sunday afternoon, we got a rematch from a little earlier in the season, Ravens Browns. There's one distinct difference in this rematch. The Browns are not starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
That's
so
true.
Deshaun Watson hasn't really impressed much, but similar to what we were talking about with Brett Rippon, the difference between those two players is huge.
And PJ Walker in there too.
Yeah, exactly. And even the difference between PJ Walker and DTR, I think, is huge. But especially the step up from that. So with that said, I think my player to start this week is someone who we've talked about a lot. Said to sit him, said not to sit him, and the reason why I'm highlighting him is because he has had a bad week last week, if I remember correctly, and this is Zay Flowers.
Okay.
I'm saying throw him in there. So the
He did
reason
have a bad
why
week last week.
did have a bad and he's had a couple of these weeks where he just doesn't show up, maybe gets 1 or 2 catches for a couple yards, and I don't think this is going to be one of them. The Browns' secondary is amazing. However, in the last matchup, the Ravens only attempted 20 passes, and 20% of those were to Zay Flowers. So, the next person up was Mark Andrews, who had 1 more catch than him.
Okay.
So, I think with the game script maybe changing a little bit, the Browns possibly putting some more points on the board. I think they're going to be passing more, and I think Zay Flowers is going to be a beneficiary to that.
Okay, I like that. I mean, I think last week it was 1 target, 1 catch for 11 yards. And the 11 yards, I will say that 1 catch actually looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also because they were facing the Seahawks defense, and Devon Witherspoon was absolutely locking him down.
Yes,
So,
and I think they ran for...
Gus
I
Edwards.
think they were averaging like 6 yards a carry, remember correctly?
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
They were running all over the Seahawks.
Yeah, so I think at that point, and I think that's exactly what happened to the first time these two played. All of the touchdowns were 2 Lamar rushing touchdowns, then 2 red zone Mark Andrews touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, only 19 pass attempts. So, they just didn't call for the pass at that time, and I think that with the Browns maybe being a little more competitive on offense, that might change.
That makes sense. Divisional matchup. I'm hyped for it. At least one AFC team
Yeah.
is losing, hopefully.
Exactly, yep.
Or
Move
tie.
up. Tie, my God. But yeah, no, I think this should be exciting, and I hope just for like our viewership's sake, it's a little more, it's a lot closer than the last matchup was, because that was kind of just bad to watch.
Yeah,
so.
I hope the Ravens lose. So go Browns. Yay. We'll move on to a sneaky rivalry game. Not a divisional game, but we're talking about my Pittsburgh Steelers versus a team that I absolutely hate ever since the Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers.
And then y'all beat them in the Super Bowl too at one point?
No. So...
I literally never beat them?
Nope.
So,
yeah, I hate them. Aaron Rodgers, I hate you. So my player to start this week in this matchup is a player that we have not talked about on this podcast at all. I am so happy that we can bring up his name. I'm talking about Deontay Johnson, baby.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Back.
Since Deontay Johnson returned from IR in Week 7, only 5 wide receivers have outscored him in fantasy football.
Damn.
And those receivers are Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, and then, surprisingly, actually, Jordan Addison. Which, he had that big game, so it makes sense. But, I mean, all of those guys are, like, the elite, besides Jordan Addison. Mm-hmm. But all those guys are, like, elite picks that you're picking in the first or second round of your drafts.
Right.
And then you have Deontay Johnson, who is just an absolute target beast.
Mm-hmm.
He has, since coming back from IR, 5+ catches in every game and 75+ yards in every game. It's actually 79, but I put 75 just to get a little
sounds
cute.
better. But that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially with the Pittsburgh offense just being absolutely abysmal all season. So a big part of that is also Matt Canada. Shout out to him. We've always hated on him. He's back, baby. Listen, all he had to do is just step out of the booth and just go onto the field, and then he's actually doing a good job now. So I'm actually pretty confident in the Steelers' offense now. I'm not saying they're going to be top 5 or even top 10, even top 16, but they are definitely not a bottom 3 offense anymore, which is just music to my ears.
Yeah, it's a major upgrade.
So, and Deontay Johnson, hey, shout out to him, scored his first touchdown last week since the Big Ben year. The Big Ben years.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he didn't have a touchdown last season, right?
Yep. Kenny Pickett did not throw Deontay Johnson a touchdown until last week. So, yeah. And I know that the Packers have a pretty good passing defense, but I just think that Deontay's going to get the targets. He's going to get the ball in his hands. So, I'm locking him into my lineups. Not over, like, Tyreek Hill or anything, but definitely a safe wide receiver, too, for this week.
Okay, and that's good to know. And it's probably a little too late for him to be on your waiver wire, but if you're in a redraft league, you might be able to trade for him because people are not really seeing that level of production yet. Because that's insane. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense to me. Got a couple 1 o'clocks this week. 6, not too bad. But next one up, we got the 49ers are coming to Jacksonville to the trash bin.
God, you hate them.
Oh, bro. Yeah, Jacksonville.
Special
not
place
a
in your
place you
heart.
want to go.
Special
like,
place
you
in
know,
your heart.
man. I love Trevor Lawrence. He can do whatever he wants. Everybody else is chill, but just don't go to Jacksonville. But anyway, Jacksonville's defense has been incredible at turning the ball over, but they have not been good in the passing game.
But they've been in the run game.
Yes, insane, incredible.
They're actually
run
top
defense.
3. I saw today.
Incredible run defense. So I think that's legit, and I think that might cause the 49ers to have problems just like in a matchup sense. Because quietly CMC has been having trouble rushing the ball the last couple weeks.
Really?
Yes. He's still having his production out the backfield passing, but he's had some trouble rushing the ball. But I'm focusing on the passing defense here. They've given up 263 passing yards a game. That's 30th in the league.
Oof,
it's pretty substantial. So I like Purdy a lot in this one. I think he's trying to come out. I think he's gonna try to make some noise, and I think that CMC coming out of the backfield, he's essentially a slot receiver. He's running routes out the backfield. Like he's going to get himself open. I think CMC is going to be a huge benefactor to Brock Purdy having a good season, or good game here. And I also think the Jags kind of sus secondary is also going to be a factor in there.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And Debo coming back.
Yep, Debo is back as well. George Kittle has been eating. Brandon Ayuk now, hopefully with Debo back, and continue to do well.
I think he's gonna actually the wide receiver one there is Ayuk.
Ayuk, it seemed
even with Debo healthy.
Yeah, and I think that helps. Having their offense is just so explosive. It sounds like Trent Williams might not be back for this one.
I thought he was coming back.
So it's from what I had just heard on a podcast coming over here. It sounds like he is practicing, but not sure if he's going to start or not.
Okay.
So if they get all of those guys back, I think it's going to look like a different team. And I think that the passing game is going to explode.
Yeah, I mean, even without Trent Williams, this team is. I mean, this is the game of the week. I mean, 49ers Jags.
Spicy.
That's a spicy game.
Yeah, Niners coming off of 3 losses in a row, and Jags coming off of 5 wins in a row. It's 2 teams heading in different directions, and I think this is definitely going to show us kind of where they're at in the hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully for the Jags, it doesn't end up like last week where Baltimore played the Seahawks, and we kind of have a lot of questions about the Seahawks now.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, since it's in Jacksonville, I hope that it is that way because that would just be hilarious.
Austin's rooting for Jacksonville to become hell.
It's fine, and like I said, and I've said to start plenty of Jags players. It's not that deep for me, but definitely I think that their passing defense is going to suffer, and I think that Brock Purdy's in to kind of get back into his 300 yards and a touchdown kind of ways.
Okay, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And plus, the concussions should be done by now.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there bye week last week?
Yeah. They're coming off a bye, fresh off a bye. Hopefully all the injuries that they've been suffering are better. The concussion, like you said, he did get cleared to play, so it wasn't affecting him a bunch, obviously. But
I think it was,
and when you think about it, obviously there were some dropped interceptions that he's had throughout the season, but like he lost Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, and had a concussion, and then had 2 bad games in a row. So it's like.
And he didn't have a bad game the first time, though. When he got the concussion, he had a good game all the way until he had the concussion. Yeah. And then he started playing terribly.
And that game, too, that he lost against the Browns where he brought them into field goal range and then the kicker missed one to the side. The narrative on him being, terrible is a little too strong, but he's definitely had some rough games, and hopefully this is one where he can get right.
I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah, I think so, too.
We'll move on to, I know I said that 49ers-Jags is the matchup of the week.
Yeah.
Dude.
This one's nuts.
Saints,
because this is huge for the NFC playoff picture.
Bro, so that plus, boy, do I have some stats for you. So, before I say my player of the week, I'm kind of leading up into that. This matchup between the Saints and Vikings is just so historically good.
Right.
So,
and
obviously, the Vikings, I was looking on Vikings Twitter today, just going through Vikings fans and seeing what they say about the Saints. Mm-hmm. They said that besides the Packers, the Saints are their biggest rival.
Oh, yeah. Well, because the Saints killed Brett Favre, bro, when they were going to the NFC Championship.
Yep, so there's that. And then also, everybody remembers the Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
And in the playoffs, that was in the divisional round.
Yeah,
so going into the NFC Championship, everyone knows about that. But the last time they played, the Saints lost due to a double doink 61-yard field goal that would have sent the game to overtime. So, yeah, that hurts. I'm gonna post a highlight of that like over this
Yeah.
so that you can see it because that really stung for them. And then flashback to Christmas Day 2020.
Oh yeah.
The fantasy football championship for most leagues was this week, and Alvin Kamara scored 6 touchdowns against the Vikings. 6. That was
Yep.
it was unbelievable.
I remember my uncle had him and he was losing his mind.
Exactly, bro.
It was just over.
If you were playing fantasy football back in 2020, you don't forget that game. Like that was an absurd
nuts,
game for Alvin Kamara, and that's actually my player of the week this week is Alvin Kamara.
Nice.
So I wanted to kind of segue.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So are we thinking maybe half, like 3 touchdowns this week, or?
I think he still goes for 6.
But at the car, 6 touchdowns.
No. No. But since coming back from suspension, Alvin Kamara has been a top 12 fantasy running back every single week besides last week, where he kind of had a down game.
Mhm.
But that's also because of game script and whatever, yada, yada, yada. But he's been an elite running back since coming back from his suspension.
Mhm.
He's also had at least 3 catches in every single game that he's played this season, just due to Derek Carr being a check down merchant.
Oh yeah, no,
So-
and that's what I was about to say. The reception level is insane.
Yeah.
I have him in one of my PPR leagues, and he is just like
He's broken.
it's correct.
He's broken. He's like starting a receiver
So that's
at
not fair.
at
Right.
your running back
Exactly,
position.
and he gets those goal line touchdowns too, which is even better.
Well, Taysom does too, though.
yep.
That
Oh
really sucks.
god, dude, yeah.
He's
Taysom
just
Hill.
a nightmare.
Taysom Hill is a fantasy night. I'm playing against him this week though, so I love that.
You're playing against him?
Yeah.
Do you love that?
Yeah, he ain't doing shit.
I don't know, bro. He always finds
I
a way to
hope so, at
vulture
least.
1 or 2 touchdowns.
He
So.
does.
But
Oh my
I do think that Alvin
goodness, dude.
Kamara, I know it's kind of a cop-out pick, but it was a nice little segue.
No,
so.
that makes sense for sure, and
Clearly.
especially with the history. So yeah, 2 more 1 o'clock games. Honestly, this 1 o'clock slate's pretty spicy. I won't even lie.
Yeah, it is.
I like all the matchups.
Yeah.
Texans Bengals is another one that I like. So
It's like a classic
this one
matchup,
is
too.
falling back a little bit just because it sounds like Jamar Chase is not playing, and it was confirmed that T. Higgins is out
Right.
with a hamstring injury. So with that said, I do want to just throw something out there that Tyler Boyd, if he's available on your waiver wire, you want to pick him up.
Yeah.
He was not my start of the week before I got that information. If I had it, maybe that would change. But either way, the Bengals are slowly not playing good secondary. They are the 3rd most passing yards per game in the last 3 games.
Bro, we called it at the beginning
over
of the
average.
season.
Yes, the secondary is suspect. Those safeties, those new safeties are tough. Chidobe Awuzie is having trouble readjusting to, coming off the injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't foresee the Texans suddenly figuring out how to run all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They have the most negative plays in the league.
Oh my God.
So that is hilarious. Like
Yeah.
it's just like they
That
cannot
sucks.
run the ball, dude. They cannot run the ball. So I don't foresee that.
But they damn sure can pass the ball.
They damn sure can pass the ball, and that's why I am saying if you have Nico Collins or Tank Dell, I'm starting both of them this week.
have to.
Especially with that news that the Bengals secondary is so suspect against the passing yardage. I think that's an easy start, and I would be tempted to start both of them in the same league. I don't know if I would do that. I feel like there's probably better options, but if there aren't, then I wouldn't be afraid of it.
Depending on your options, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would still, if you're in bye week hell with the Eagles and the Dolphins
Right.
and a couple other teams on bye this week,
Yeah,
I have no problem starting Nico Collins and Tank Dell with not full confidence because, if they just fumble the bag and just...
yes. Oh yeah, they
if
could
CJ
get
Stroud
crushed.
gets injured,
Yeah.
God forbid.
This could definitely be one of those games where the Texans coming off a nice game play against a superior opponent and kind of just get the shit stomped. So
Yeah, exactly.
I don't foresee that happening. I think the Texans. I like the coaching staff. Stroud is definitely legit, and it does seem like in general Stroud just has quiet games. He doesn't have meltdown games.
Yeah.
So he's obviously 9 games into his career that could very easily happen. But I don't think that's going to be the case with the secondary. I think we'll be able to dot it up.
I think this will be a high-flying game. I'm hyped for it.
It would be sick. It definitely would be sick because the Texans' secondary is also horrific, and it sounds like Stingley might not play, and their second cornerback is out. I think just confirmed. So
Great.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but there's no
definitely
Jamar Chase, probably.
Yeah, no Jamar Chase,
And T. Higgins.
probably, and there's absolutely no T. Higgins. So we've seen Joe Burrow make it work in the past, but losing both of them,
That's tough.
tough for sure.
That's really tough. Moving on, we got Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Another
And
spicy one.
yeah, bro, I like these. I like this slate a
It's
lot.
good.
Last week I had a terrible slate by myself. And then you come back and now we have all these spicy ass
Yeah, there you
games.
go. Well, bro,
Except
who would
for
have thought Bucks, Texans, and Vikings, Falcons was going to be like some of the best games of the year.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So yeah, talking about, I mean, we just talked about the Texans. Now we're talking about the Bucks. We saw C.J. Stroud last week absolutely light up the Buccaneers, threw for 450 yards, something like that.
They've
and
been
six
having
touchdowns.
trouble with secondary injuries bad.
Yeah.
Like, the Bucks have a tough secondary because of all these people who are getting injured.
And Carlton Davis is still healthy, but he was getting cooked last week.
Oh, no.
Absolutely cooked every single time I saw him. Like, it was bad. So that's why this week we just saw a rookie light them up. We're gonna see a rookie light them up this week. I got Will Levis, baby. Lock him in.
Boy,
Lock him
Mayo
in.
King.
Yes, sir. Mayo King. Look, he was officially named the starter, even with Ryan Tannehill healthy.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about Tannehill coming in and.
Bye, Tannehill.
Yeah. Bye.
Hopefully he can start somewhere else.
He's not, because they already missed the trade deadline.
Right, yeah, not this season, buddy.
So you're going to be a mentor now. But I was also, dude, I've been on, so, like, my algorithm on Twitter has just, like, been so much Titan shit just because I love Will Levis so much. I'm getting all these Titans tweets, and everyone's just saying, oh, Ryan Tannehill is the best Titans quarterback of all time. And it's just, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like,
because,
I guess if you don't count Warren Moon, like,
exactly.
maybe, but I think you do, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I would still say Warren Moon is better, but Will Levis, once I saw that, I was like, okay, so Will Levis is going to be the best Titans quarterback ever, because he's him. Okay, listen, he had to come back, he came back down to earth last week against the Steelers after his debut, where he threw for 4 touchdowns and an absurd amount of yards for his rookie debut. I mean, I think it was still less than 300, but still. He came back down to earth. He played the Steelers on Thursday Night Football.
Amazing defense. So.
Amazing defense. Not the best defense, but still, I mean, 2 elite pass rushers. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was on a short week. I think it was in Pittsburgh. I don't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure it actually was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a tough game. That's tough for a rookie. So, and he still threw the ball 40 times. He still threw the ball 40 times against the Steelers.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. so Vrabel clearly trusts him with the ball in his hands, which is just music to my ears. But like I said, I mean, we just saw Stroud. Okay, actually, I did write it down. He threw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against the Bucks last week.
Right.
So if C.J. Stroud can do it, Will Levis can do at least half of that.
Right. Well, plus D-Hop is way better than any of the Texans, so... Yeah.
Which, hey, Houston, if you heard that, maybe you shouldn't have traded him.
Yeah. Hey, you would have thought, everybody in Houston is just screaming at Bill O'Brien. Dude.
Yeah. Oh, we love David Johnson. Thank you so much. Where is he now?
He was great for 6 games. But yeah, so that's it for the 1 o'clocks. On to the 4:05s. 2 4:05 games, which is interesting. We got Lions at Chargers, which this should be spicy as well. This kind of will be a good measuring stick for where the Chargers are at. Because... I mean, they're still in the mix, but I haven't really seen a lot from them to convince me that they're a playoff team. But I am highlighting the Chargers. I am highlighting a star, so this is going to be kind of lame. But Austin Eckler is my start of the week. Okay. Coming off of 2 top... He actually might have been running back 6 2 weeks ago, but 2 top 10... top 5 running back performances. It's close enough if it is 6.
Okay.
And the Lions have allowed at least 50 receiving yards to running backs in 50% of their games.
Receiving yards?
Receiving yards, yes.
So how many? In 50%?
In 50% of their games.
Okay.
So I believe they've had their bye already, so 4 games. Yeah. I did this research myself, so it might be 3 out of 8, but still, either way...
50%.
Almost 50%.
We'll go with 50.
Yeah, and that's a lot in general because, when you're dumping off to running backs, you're getting 10 yards most of the time. So
exactly.
Over 50, I think that's a large number to hit. And noticeably against the Chiefs and the Ravens, they allowed almost 100 receiving yards to running backs.
Oh my god! They don't even have really receiving backs.
Right. It was
Jared McKinnon is the best receiving back out of those two.
Exactly, and so the Ravens was a Gus Edwards run for 80 yards, but I think they allowed like 120 receiving yards to them that game or something like that. Yeah. So it might not be a pattern, but it's something that I identified. Yeah. Austin Eckler is great at catching stuff out of the backfield, and the Chargers have been really struggling running the ball in general. So I think that similar to what the 49ers are going to do, they're going to try to get him work out of the backfield. Yeah. I think that he's going to get a lot of receptions, and I think that he's going to get at least 50 receiving yards in this matchup. Yeah.
I mean, although you said, you're saying a starter or a obvious, stud, I still think that this is a good thing to bring up because the Lions do have a really good run defense.
Right.
So saying a running back that's playing against the Lions is still a good thing to say.
Right.
And also Austin Eckler, if you watch the game on Monday against the Jets, he had at least 3 drops.
Mhm.
So oh God, Jesus. I hope that he has a really good comeback game this week against the Lions, like you said, especially after that stat, because that's super interesting.
Yeah.
And Austin Eckler being one of the best pass catching running backs in the NFL
Right.
should definitely hit that line.
Yeah, I would think so for sure. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Whatever his receiving yard line is, I haven't looked it up. Bet the car on it.
It's definitely lower than 50.
Yeah, it's got to be lower than it's probably 30 or something. So
Yeah.
I feel like he'll hit that for sure. But yeah, so I mean that's basically all I have to say about that one. I also think Lions running backs, especially Jahmyr Gibbs, are going to be players that you want. Since taking over as a starter, Jahmyr Gibbs has the most yards from scrimmage of any player in the NFL.
Really?
Mhm.
Even more than like Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown?
From the moment that he,
Okay,
you know,
yeah,
from
that's right.
2 or 3 weeks ago
Gotcha.
to now, yes, has the most scrimmage yards than
Is-
any other player.
Is Monty back this week? Do you know?
I believe he is, yes, but
Really?
and so that's gonna hurt eating into his carries. But I think at this point he's acclimated to the NFL, and I feel like they're gonna do. The Lions are also a team that would run the ball 40 times, and the Chargers are a team that you would do that against. So I don't feel like that's gonna make a huge cut into his stuff. I'm starting Jahmyr Gibbs no matter what.
That's scary, bro. That's honestly scary because Dan Campbell is so infuriating sometimes.
Oh yeah, with the David Montgomery. Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, Monty's looked good this year. But
Yeah,
I
oh,
agree.
no, for sure.
I agree.
But even in the past, like I'm an Amon-Ra St. Brown owner, and you know every time I see Josh Reynolds or, God, what's the other guy's name? Khalif Raymond. Every time I see them catch the ball, I just literally want to strangle myself. So Dan Campbell is just so infuriating sometimes.
He might be feeding the other guy.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna start Jahmyr Gibbs, and then David Montgomery's gonna have 30 carries, and it's just like.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's happened once already
Great.
this season. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Speaking of infuriating coaches,
Yeah.
this is my
Oh,
segue
my
here.
God.
We got the most infuriating coach. We have the idiot himself, Arthur Smith,
The old Artie Smith.
versus the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't know if y'all watched that Falcons game last week, but thank God they lost because Arthur Smith, I hate
Did
you.
not deserve that win, bro. How are you at the goal line? You didn't get beat on the ball once.
Nope. Tyler Algier, Janu, field goal. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Sicko.
So, listen, I've actually made this pact. I didn't write it down, but I thought it when I was thinking about this game. I will never pick another Falcons player ever on the DK podcast. I will not highlight them. I will literally go to whichever team they're playing, and I will pick a player on the team that they're playing to either start or sit because it's impossible to predict the Falcons' offense. I've just accepted it.
Is this until Artie Smith is gone or just pure?
Okay, yes.
All right,
Until
okay,
Arthur Smith is
okay,
gone,
okay.
for sure.
God, I was about to
Because
say,
then
bro.
it changes. No, then it changes. Then it changes. But when
In
Arthur
life,
Smith,
never gonna have a Falcon on my team ever again, bro.
no. And I still have Bijan Robinson in the Dynasty Kings League, so that really is infuriating because I would have won last week if I benched him for Gus Edwards. So yay!
Sicko.
Yay! But anyway, I got my player of the week this week is not a Falcon. It is someone that should have been a Falcon at the beginning of this season, and that is Kyler Murray.
Oh.
Return game. He's back. This is the game where he's going to put a staple on the league saying, I'm back. Okay?
Damn.
Listen, the Falcons allow the 4th most points to opposing quarterbacks.
That's crazy.
The 4th most.
And
I
they're
know.
Pretty decent secondary. So
Exactly.
That's hard to believe.
They have Jesse Bates. They have
Yeah.
AJ Terrell. They have, do they still have Mike Hughes? I think they do have Mike Hughes.
I don't believe so. I think it's Jeff Okuda now starting out on the other side of.
But I think they still have Mike Hughes. I'm
And
pretty
they
sure it's
might.
all 3.
and they have them in the slot or
And then
something.
because they
Yeah.
have Mike Hughes who went to UCF by the way, and then they have oh my god I forgot their other safety's name. He also went to UCF though, so that's how I know that they have both.
Got facts. Okay.
But
That's
I
crazy.
always forget the safety's name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might put an edit on it in here. I'll probably put it up at the top.
Yep.
Right here or something. I don't know, but yeah, Kyler Murray. He's averaged 20 plus fantasy points per game every season he's been in the NFL, which hasn't been like 10
Yeah,
years,
that's actually
but
ridiculous.
I mean, he's been in the NFL at least 5 years, probably 6 or 7. So he's averaging 20 points per game in every single game. Well, not in every single game, but he's averaging 20 points per game every season. And I think he's going to average it this season, because obviously those zeros don't count towards that. So I think it starts this week. I will bet the car that he gets over 20 fantasy points this week.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on what your league you're in.
Yeah.
But even with a 4-point touchdown,
Right.
like passing touchdown, I'm still betting the car.
He's good for it?
He's good for it.
Damn.
He's going to get the rushing.
Okay.
He's going to get the passing.
Damn.
And James Conner's back. So don't sleep on that, because that's actually huge for them.
Right.
Like, I know James Conner's not, a top tier NFL running back.
Right. Is
but
he confirmed starting too? I thought he was still.
he's confirmed back.
Wow. Okay.
He's confirmed back.
Yeah, that's a big difference for sure. Because
Exactly.
their run game was rough. The last couple
their
of
whole offense has been sus.
Their
Besides
team
Josh
sucked.
Dobbs.
Yeah. Yep.
Can't show it to him.
Him. But yeah. So all right. Well, that makes sense to me. I definitely. I'm considering grabbing Kyler in a redraft league, possibly, where I have Gino.
Or, hey, buy low now.
Yeah.
In Dynasty, buy low now on Kyler before he pops off
Before
this
he does
game.
it this week, yeah.
Andy, don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you better not, idiot.
Because Austin's coming for him.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, that's it for the 405s. On to 425. This game is a pile of doo-doo. We got Tommy DeVito and the fucking Giants versus the Cowboys. So if you have the Cowboys defense like I do in a couple of my redraft leagues, like, dude, they're gonna destroy Tommy DeVito. Bro.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
This guy, I think he ended up throwing a garbage time touchdown pass. So like, I'm happy for him, bro. He gets that football. He has that forever. This dude is not an NFL quarterback. This guy will not be a backup NFL quarterback. He is the tank commander. And I think the Giants are going for a top 5 pick, and they're going to trade DJ. So I think the Cowboys are going. They scored 40 points against them the last time they played. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like, it would be nearly impossible for them to do it again. But if they score more, I would lose my mind. But yeah, Cowboys defense. I would assume that they're probably taking in any of your leagues. But if they're not, like if somebody is streaming them for whatever reason, pick them up right now.
Immediately.
They're going to decimate the Giants, and they better be in your lineup if you own them. Also, please, Tony Pollard, do something. Do something. Do something. Do something. This is the game. This is the game where they will just be in control the whole time. Hand it off to Tony Pollard 20 times. Let's see if he can go over 100 yards and get a touchdown. Please.
He's been so disappointed.
Dude, it's just tragic. It really, truly is tragic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have nothing to say about the Giants. Maybe keep starting Saquon just because of pure volume, but every other Giant needs to get on your bench right now.
Our waivers.
This team is trash, dude.
You can drop
yeah.
every Giant that's on your team besides Saquon Barkley. Literally all of them.
Darren Waller if you're in Dynasty, but yeah.
No. Well, you can put him in your IR, so it's not really a roster.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yep.
So I would just trade him, to be honest, for a second.
For anything.
If you can.
Yeah.
But we'll move on from that terrible game.
Yeah, that one's going to be bad. It's a 3-game slate at 405.
No. Because you're taking that game out. Yeah. Okay. So our last game, we got Commanders at Seahawks, which is low-key a little spicy.
I think it's going to be... Sam Howell on the Commanders has made them fun to watch at the very least. I don't know if he's going to be this good forever, but he's fun to watch, and that's better than a lot of Commanders quarterbacks could say.
And he's my sit of the week. So
there you go.
I'm sitting Sam Howell this week, just because Seattle has an absolutely stacked defense, like especially their secondary.
Yeah.
I know that they kind of got shit on a little bit last week against the Ravens, but like you were saying earlier, like you were saying earlier, a lot of it was the run game.
Oh, it was, yeah. I would say the majority of it was the run game.
Exactly.
They couldn't stop anything.
Lamar didn't have like a crazy game. Like Zay Flowers had 1 catch. I don't really remember Mark Andrews really doing anything.
Right.
So it was really just a Gus Edwards and then a Keaton Mitchell game. So that's why I'm kind of sitting Sam Howell. I know he's like number 2 in the NFL in passing yards, but I think that the Seahawks humble him a little bit this week. I think that I'll bet the car that he throws an interception this week. I'd honestly probably bet the car that he throws 2.
Okay, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
One I could see, but two's a little much.
I'm not going to lie, bro. I was thinking about saying 3.
Wow.
I seriously think that, because he just throws so much, bro.
That is true.
And
yeah,
Seahawks
Eric
defense
loves.
That's what I'm saying.
The ball, bro.
Yeah, he's addicted to
Yeah.
it. But Sam Howell, like you said, he has been killing it this year. But he also had one of the easiest schedules for fantasy quarterbacks thus far.
Yeah.
I noticed. So I think it actually was the easiest that I saw. He had the easiest,
like as far as defenses that allow points to fantasy. Okay.
Yes,
makes sense.
Up to this point, I don't know
can see
about
that.
the rest of the season,
Right.
but this is like his biggest challenge of the season so far is the Seahawks defense. And
Other than maybe the Bills when they were still at full health and we saw how poorly he played.
That's
So,
true.
You know,
Exactly.
That's a fair point. But I mean, I guess the Eagles secondary is garbage, so like they're
Exactly.
and not garbage, just injured. So like
And they're bad against quarterbacks.
yeah. Well, I think when I was looking up the passing yards, they're like second most passing yards allowed. So
yeah. A lot of that is from Sam Howell too. I will admit.
yes, dude. No, Sam Howell played against just the Eagles. Like if you just took those stats and multiplied it by 15,
He'd
like,
be a Hall of Famer,
dude. Yeah,
he'd
like,
be the MVP.
yes,
Like literally,
exactly,
he would be.
exactly. But yeah, so. Like we said, I think the game's definitely going to be spicy. Sitting Sam Howell makes sense because you can probably find somebody on the waiver wire who might have a better matchup this week.
Yeah.
And kind of like we said the last time that he played against the Bills defense is not at that level anymore. Let me just make that clear.
Yeah.
But 5 players ago, when the Bills had everybody on defense, he scored a field goal with 2 minutes left. So like, really rough, really rough.
But I will say that. So since I said sit Sam Howell, you said start Brock Purdy. I would start Brock Purdy over Sam Howell this week.
Yeah.
Even though Sam Howell has been a better fantasy quarterback this season, just based off matchup, Brock Purdy has the better matchup. Sam Howell has the worst matchup, and they're not in the same tier. Maybe they kind of are in the same tier.
Yeah,
for
it's probably
fantasy,
cause, honestly.
for like redraft and stuff.
Yeah, but I would say Sam Howell probably, which just sucks because before Purdy was so consistent, and then as soon as I started starting him, he stopped playing well. Where Sam Howell had kind of struggled to begin with. And I mean, what is this? His 11th game starting?
Yeah,
so
something like that.
they're both very young. They definitely play two different styles of ball.
Yeah.
Howell's a major gunslinger. So yeah, but no, I think that makes sense. But I do agree. I think this matchup in general, Purdy is definitely has a more favorable defense, and this is all on paper, obviously, and I'm sure next week we'll be saying, Sam Howell went for 40, Purdy went for -6 because I started him this week.
-6.
Anyway, on to one of the worst Sunday night games I can remember.
Ever.
We got Jets-Raiders. I think this is going to be a takedown again. I mean, I've been sleeping on the Jets all season, and they have kind of surprised me here and there. But Zach Wilson does not do well under pressure, and we just saw the Jets' right tackle get absolutely abused by the Chargers' D-line. So I feel like Max Crosby is going to do... I think Max Crosby seems to move around the line a lot. I think he will be one-on-one with the right tackle the entire night. And just like take... I can't remember that dude's name. But
is it Mekhi Becton, or is he playing on the left?
Yeah, I think Mekhi Becton's back on the left because... The Jets' O-line is so injured, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
But I do believe Mekhi Becton is okay, and it's not George Fant, because I think that guy's injured too, bro. But yeah, they're on their second or third string right tackle, and the dude just can't.
He can't play.
Can't handle it, bro. And he was playing against pass rushers of Max Crosby's quality and getting destroyed. And Max Crosby's on another level this year. I mean, I think he's personally in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation easily.
I think so too.
And he's arguably my favorite. He's just been a monster this season. So I think it's going to be a huge game for him. And I think it's a huge game for Josh Jacobs because he no longer has... I wasn't here last week, but the week before, we were talking about that meme where Josh McDaniels is the fat idiot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fat idiot is no longer around.
Fired.
He is no longer around. And what do you know? Josh Jacobs goes for 98 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Jets, when you think about the Jets, you think about an amazing defense, right? And a horrible offense. Well,
secondary-wise.
Yes. They are the bottom 5 in defending the run.
I did know that,
so that is why Josh Jacobs is going to be my star of the week, another star. But this is definitely a guy who has been, people may have benched him after some poor weeks going into, last week may not have played him against the Giants. So this is just a declaration. Josh Jacobs is back. And this is a good matchup for him because the Jets have struggled stopping the run. So I think that the new coach is going to feed him, and he's going to have an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, and I think his name's Antonio Pierce. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so as well.
Because I brought him up last week as well. I mean, this guy has just been absolute, insane, hire. I don't think he was a hire. Well, I guess he was a hire at some point.
Yeah.
But it's not like he was a new face to the Raiders. They know him. They respect him. And I think that he's completely changed the culture in Las Vegas. So, I think that the Raiders defense is also a huge pickup this week because Zach Wilson is just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And like you said, Max Crosby is Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So I definitely think that the Raiders pull this win out, and I think so your start of the week was at first I thought it was sitting Zach Wilson, which you have to also do.
You better be. It's astonishing to me that at one point in this podcast we said to start him, but didn't he have a good week when you said to start him? Yes,
but he played.
We caught that one, baby.
Yeah, we got the one, but this week is not that week, just because that Raiders defense just looks I wouldn't say special, but just so much better now.
Max Crosby is special.
Yeah, Max
That's a
Crosby's
fact.
definitely
He
special.
is a one-man game wrecker, and especially against a porous O-line, I think that's going to be an easy matchup.
And even oh my god, Tyree Wilson had a sack last week, and we were shitting on him at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So
hey, if he can wake up, what do you know? It's the coaching.
I know it's
Josh
the coaching.
McDaniels goes away, and this guy goes from literally.
It's a
I
whole
don't remember what
culture
the number
shift.
was, but he had like 3 pass rush wins in like 6 weeks or something like
Yeah,
that. Like,
it was bad.
It was terrible.
No, I think it was literally 0. I think because
I know it was 0 for 3 weeks for sure.
Yeah,
and then I think
So yeah, it's
which
bad.
is just impossible. So like,
it's impossible to be that bad. But hey, he had a sack last week.
Yep.
Let's see. Hopefully, he's not a bust for the Raiders. At least I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I am starting the Raiders defense this week. So
hopefully a lot of sacks, and I can definitely see that coming. So on to Monday night, last game of the slate.
we got
What's going on with my Bills?
We got Broncos at Bills, and listen, the Bills have looked like pretenders the past couple weeks. I know it's rough for some of us, half of us. Honestly, both of us, because I have Josh Allen. And,
yep. I'm still a diehard, though. 8-0. 8-0 to end the season.
And it's starting this week against the Broncos because the Broncos suck. Yeah. And I do not have a Broncos player as my player of the week. It's a Bills player, and it's the rookie Dalton Kincaid.
Oh, yeah.
So the Broncos allow the 5th most points to opposing tight ends.
Damn.
And Dalton Kincaid, the past 3 weeks, has had, in every game the past 3 weeks, which I think, has Dawson Knox been out the past 3 weeks?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so since Dawson Knox has been out, Dalton Kincaid has had 7+ targets in every game, 5+ receptions in every game, and 65+ yards in every game. So he's getting close to like Deontay Johnson numbers with those.
As a tight end.
Yeah, as a tight end, as a rookie tight end.
Yeah. No,
so
he's him. That I'll just like say this right now. That's the guy.
Yeah, he is. Okay, it's hard to say he's the next Travis Kelce because Travis Kelce's an all-time great, but he is the next like big tight end in the NFL. Like I'd say he's the next T.J. Hawkinson. So at least for now,
and Laporta.
Well, Laporta too, obviously. But I'm saying just on like that elite level offense,
right?
Like, and I guess Laporta it kind of is now too. But like the Bills are just like another level above the Lions. I think at least for now. You know, hopefully they don't keep shitting the bed. But yeah, I got Dalton Kincaid as my start of the week. I think the Bills have a huge bounce back game against the Broncos. Awful defense. And I know they're the worst defense against the run, but I'm still not really confident in any of the running backs. I'm not sure if you are.
I like James Cook. There's just no... This has been an issue with the Bills for the last 2 seasons, ever since Ken Dorsey took over play calling. And honestly, it goes back to Dable, too. They just will never run the ball. And it's like, you don't need to do like a run, pass. You know, that's easy to defend. But like, I mean, they had 8 rushing plays last week.
Really?
And I don't know, I could be wrong. That might be just to James Cook. But if it was just to James Cook, then
still
I know it was 3 to Lat Murray. Yeah, so like, they don't give them the opportunity to set up the run. And then there's no opportunity to set up play action because... So, yeah, and I mean, that's kind of why a lot of Bills fans have been getting testy with this guy.
It's because it's all out of shotgun, right?
Right.
They just run every single play out of shotgun.
Yes, and Josh has said he's more comfortable in shotgun, but like, okay, do the passing plays in shotgun then.
Yeah, exactly.
And then throw one run in there. Yeah. You know, like, you don't have to... Like, if I have to see, and I know I'm going to see it on Monday night, I'm going to have to see Josh Allen hand James Cook the ball in shotgun, and he's going to get blown up and behind the line of scrimmage. And it's just like... I don't know how many times we have to see that play for them to understand that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I hope... Because, I mean, James Cook is still in the top 10 at rushing yards for the season.
No shot.
Yeah.
I'm fact-checking you after
I swear, bro. Here, I'll look right now.
There is no way.
I swear, I saw it today, bro.
James Cook has been such a disappointment.
Right, but there's just so many running backs who've been injured.
Who've been injured,
But, and he had a couple of good games as well. So
because I know A-Chain is definitely still above him, and he hasn't played in weeks. I think A-Chain's still... I don't know if he's still top
James
5.
Cook is 10? No, A-Chain is no longer... 10? Yeah, A-Chain is 17 now.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Him and Josh Jacobs have the exact same amount of yards, which is actually
James
just
Cook?
impossible. Yeah, James Cook and Josh Jacobs have the same amount of yards.
Go through it real quick, 1 through 10.
So, McCaffrey, Zach Moss, DeAndre Swift, Raheem Mostert, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Ken Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, and James Cook. And then Saquon is like 4 yards underneath him.
No, you did not just say Bijan.
Yeah, Bijan is 9th with 517
Arthur
yards.
Smith, are you fucking listening to this?
Sicko.
Are you listening to this?
And this is a great point. I'm actually glad we looked this up. So every other running back in this list except for Mostert has over 130 carries. The two that do not... So Mostert, it doesn't need that amount of carries because he's a home run hitter, but
Yeah.
Bijan and James Cook are the only ones under 130 carries.
As well as Rick Mostert.
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
Can
So
you please just
right.
feed Bijan
Just
the
give
goddamn
them the ball, bro.
And
So,
James Cook,
yeah,
bro. Like,
exactly.
run the fucking ball.
Right.
Like, it's not that hard.
Exactly. Just give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I agree. I mean, I think if you have a more reliable running back, get James Cook in there or get James Cook out of there. But if you don't, I think this will be the week where he can hopefully get a couple yards and like maybe they'll listen, because sometimes they listen and they give him the ball, because I mean, at the beginning of the season when we were doing so well, we were giving him the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think they need to get that balance back. Need to get that juice back. And this game's about to start, so we need to wrap up and
I was about to
get ourselves
say.
juiced up. So
yeah, so thank y'all for listening in.
Yep.
We're about to watch this game. Hopefully DJ Moore takes off, so
Yep.
that Austin's prediction is right, and that
if
my
not, we're
bet's
gonna
hit.
edit it out.
Yeah, we're not gonna edit it out. We're not gonna edit it out. I'm definitely gonna keep that in. But we will see y'all next week. Hopefully Austin doesn't miss it.
Take it easy.